And we know what happens to these children, Sean. And look, the illegal aliens coming across the border, people need to understand, 31% of women that make that journey get raped by criminal cartels. Children get raped. I've talked to little girls as young as 9 that have been multiple times. These cartels are animals, and that's why President Trump's going to take them off the face of the earth. They have killed more Americans than every terrorist organization in the world, and President Trump is committed to calling them terrorist organization and using the full might of the United States Special Operations to take them out.
Our country is being poisoned from within by the drugs and by all of the other crime that's taking place. The drug cartels are waging war in America. And it's now time for America to wage war on the cartels.
Well, border crossings usually do tend to rise during the month of December once those temperatures cool down just a bit. But we could see some more migrants try to get into the United States once the Trump administration takes office come January. But a rep with the Texas Department of Public Safety tells me they're ready for anything.
We may see a surge, we may not, but we're ready in Texas.
It's a slow start to my ride-along in South Texas. Lieutenant Chris Olivares is on patrol, keeping watch along the Rio Grande. Then a call comes in.
We're going to head up to write them up.
Our first stop takes us to a town in the valley called McAllen. 3 men from Honduras and Mexico tried to climb over the border using this makeshift ladder. Their attempt fails. Their guide disappears back into Mexico and Border Patrol catches the men. That's one apprehension on a morning slower compared to years back.
Right now in Texas, illegal border crossings are down 88%. Now that's in part because of what we've been able to do in Texas by placing physical barriers along the river, making arrests on those who actually commit state crimes.
But with cooler weather and a new administration coming in January, preparations for a potential mass migration are underway.
And even more so now, we're conducting mass migration response exercises.
One of those exercises involves both Texas DPS and the state's National Guard, forming lines across vulnerable areas of the state's 1,200-mile border. The exercise is meant to send a message.
Illegal border crossers are not going to want to cross in that area. They're going to want to go somewhere else where there's less resistance.
The president-elect spent much of his campaign promising to secure the border and deport people who came to the U.S. illegally. Trump says he'll make good on his promise come day one. For Texas DPS, this change can mark a turning point.
It's been very difficult for us as a state when we have our own federal government challenging us and protecting our own state, trying to secure the border, when that is our responsibility, is to secure the border and to protect our country.
Yeah, and while there are preparations for a potential surge coming here to the Rio Grande Valley and the entire South Texas border, it's important to note that immediately after Trump's Election Day victory, a mass caravan full of thousands moving through Mexico cut down by nearly half.
But what's your overarching message to Americans who are eager for major border action on minute one, like Inauguration Day, 1 second in? How much will you be able to improve the life of everyday Americans?
I got 3 words for him. Shock and awe. Shock and awe.
I love it.
You're going to see us take this country back. And look, like I said before, it isn't just about the deportation operation. It isn't just about saving the children. It ain't about securing the border. What's the result? Less overdose deaths, less trafficking. For God's sakes, one of the worst crimes around. Less migrants dying. Under this administration, over 4,000 aliens have died crossing that border, an historic record. When President Trump, had immigration on 90%, had that border shut down, he saved thousands of lives. So less aliens die, less Americans die. Wages will increase because you don't have all that illegal labor working for pennies on a dollar up here. Trafficking is going to vastly increase. This country is going to be alien crime. You're going to see that reduce significantly. As far as Trinidad, Agua, and MS-13, a notice to you, my gang's bigger than your gang, and we're going to take you out too. So I can't wait to get started.
In this war, Joe Biden has sided against the United States and with the cartels. They are making more money than they've ever made before, times 10. There's never been anything like it. They're major, major companies. They're bigger than even some of our biggest companies. Biden's open border policies are a deadly betrayal of our nation. When I am president, it will be the policy of the United States to take down the cartels, just as we took down ISIS and the ISIS caliphate. And just as unlike the situation we're in today, we had a very, very strong border, the strongest border, in fact, in the history of our country. And drugs were at a low of 45 years. There's been nothing like what we did just 2 years ago. We will show no mercy on the cartels. Every day, drug traffickers are using the waters of our region to ship their lethal poisons to America, killing so many of our people and ruining families. In addition to restoring strong border security, I will deploy all necessary military assets, including the U.S. Navy, to impose the full naval embargo on the cartels. I did that before, and it worked. What we did was incredible. We will guarantee that the waters of the Western Hemisphere are not used to traffic illicit drugs to our country. Furthermore, I will order the Department of Defense to make appropriate use of special forces, cyber warfare, and other overt and covert actions to inflict maximum damage on cartel leadership, infrastructure, and operations. I will designate the major cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. We will sever their access to global financial systems. I will also work to forge an unprecedented partnership with neighboring governments in our region, just like I did in Mexico. And remember, in Mexico alone, an estimated 100,000 civilians have been tragically murdered, gone missing at the hands of these cartels. The Mexican government, run by a very fine man, the president, is really working hard, but it's not working out. These cartels are vicious and they're violent, and they have Mexico for now stymied. Well, we have to help Mexico, and we have to stymie the cartels. Either we will get the full cooperation of other governments to stop this menace, or we will expose every bribe, every kickback, every payoff, and every bit of corruption that is allowing the cartels to preserve their brutal reign. And it is indeed brutal.
And aliens who have illegally entered the United States, which is a felony.
Tom Homan has been tapped by Donald Trump to carry out the largest mass deportation in U.S. history. But the former acting director of ICE is not only focused on the southern border. Canada is also a concern.
It's an extreme national security vulnerability on the northern border, and it's one of the things I'll tackle as soon as I'm in the White House.
Homan made the comments in an interview with WWNY. U.S. Border Patrol agents have seen northern crossings, particularly between New York and Quebec, surge. And those numbers are only expected to increase when Trump takes office.
There may well be a stampede towards the northern border that would be somewhat greater than what we saw in 2017 when Trump first came to power.
I'm a little concerned. I keep on hearing the federal government saying, well, we have a plan and we're going to wait to see what happens. They better be ready.
Finally, as I have said before, I will ask Congress to pass legislation ensuring that drug smugglers and human traffickers receive the death penalty. The drug cartels and their allies in the Biden administration have the blood of countless millions on their hands. Millions and millions of families and people are being destroyed. When I'm back in the White House, the drug kingpins and vicious traffickers will never sleep soundly again. We did it once, and we did it better than anybody else. There's never been a better border than we had just 2 years ago. It was strong, it was powerful, and it was respected all over the world. And now we're laughed at all over the world. And we're not going to let that happen much longer. We have to take over. We have to be tough. We have to be smart. We have to be fair. But if we don't do something immediately, our country is gone.